Okay, I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I think we have a motion to first look over the financials from January and a motion to approve.
We jump in
Just the minutes.
Just the minutes.
I'm thinking of reading myself.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
Do I have a second? A second. A second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, moving on to the financial report this summer. Okay, I've got that. I'll go over with the board in a little bit more detail where we're at. The first sheet I'm going to go over is the actual tax report. December 2012, the TDA collected $4,746.80. So far, if you want to look at the list, the net collections was $166,089.89, less our reserve, which brought it to $93,520.38. However, if you will look under less disbursements, the less disbursements are from fiscal year that begins July the 1st till June, or excuse me, from fiscal year July the 1st until the most recent, which is January the 31st. The TDA board has spent $72,569.51 out of the $100,000 budget set by the town board. With that in mind, we still have commitments out there. One of the commitments is Comcast for $2,804.40. Also, the January vote to where the Comcast went over of $2,934.92. Then our billboards that we have a contractual agreement with are $1,820 per month, which breaks it down from present until June. We're committed to $9,100 in billboard. April Fool Trails Days, we're committed to $2,000. So currently our total commitments for this board as of today is $16,839.32. The TDA board has spent, if you take the $72,000 that we have spent and you add together the commitments that we will have to pay for, as of today, we've spent $89,408.83, which leaves us to spend from now until June $10,591.17. That's all that's left out of the fiscal year 2012-2013 budget. This is just my opinion. I urge the board to stop expenditures until our current commitments are paid. I do not believe it's wise to start a new fiscal year on July the 1st, 2013 with unpaid commitments. From going back and looking at maybe what some of the problems were, part of the problem was with Comcast. We had a $100,000 budget. We committed $50,000 up front to it. Granted that Comcast did run over between fiscal years, which we will have some expenditures do that, but it would be helpful for the board if we could limit the amount that does go over to the next year. So that's what I've got. Any questions so far?
As your chair, and looking at these financials today, I do recommend that we don't approve any grants at this time. And any of those that would like to present tonight, please feel free to, but bear in mind of what we're telling you right now with the financial status that we're in. I mean, just having 10,000, because we've only been granted 100,000 to spend for our budget. And now seeing that everything that we've spent for the year, I mean, like she said, that only leaves us $10,591.17. and we still have 6 months to go. Well, 5 months to go.
And I would make that recommendation also because of the fact that we do need to work on this marketing plan to see what our direction will be. And the one way to do that is that schedule, according to this, that's already scheduled.
Right.
So we'll know by the end of the month where we're gonna go on our marketing and then where we're gonna go on the rest of the stuff. I think we do have a billboard decision and we're only talking $200 in there, so I think we can go ahead and get the billboards approved. But at this point, just the continuing of spending money. Granted, we're gonna probably make the 16,000 up and by the end of the fiscal year, but without the plan, there's no sense continuing to run this way. Because otherwise, the only other option would be to dip in the reserves. And we haven't hit the $100,000 yet, but, you know, that would be kind of counterproductive to, without a plan, just to continue to dip into that. It's like you stash money away and then all of a sudden you're dipping into it every time you turn around.
When you've done a budget already of 100,000. And I think from the past, and we've had a lot of board members coming on and off, I think that's something we didn't realize. We were looking at financials from January to December, and everybody runs on a budget usually from January to December, and not realizing that, you know, ours is from July 1st to June 30th, from one year to the next. And I think we were spending last year money that we hadn't even, I mean, we were already committing to things that at the end of the year or towards the year for the next year. And it's helped both years, but at the same time, that come out of our budget. Because 50,000, like you said, or over 50,000, that was half of our budget. So I did put on here suggesting that we do the March 11th marketing, and I think that's where we all need to be on board members and decide how much are we going to do for grants, how much are we going to do for advertising. I mean,
Gotta have a playbook.
everything, and then stick to that, and then let people know this is our budget, that you need to come to us at this time to let us know what you're doing, because we need to plan out for the whole year as well, because our.
It's easier on both sides.
Right, and to keep up with.
So then are you saying between now and summer, June or July,
June 30th.
June 30th, we're not approving
Well,
any funding requests, or is that what we're gonna be discussing in?
that's, I think, what we're gonna be discussing on the 20th of March.
Our marketing, because we
Yes,
have to
sir.
realize we only
Marketing
have
plan.
left to budget, out of our budget is $10,000.
Right.
We
From
have
now
that
till June.
over in grants.
We'd have to get the board to approve, and then we'd have to transfer funds from a reserve, and the board would have to approve that too, to continue. So I think we'd be best off.
And that's not guaranteed
Right
that
now.
when we go in front of the town alderman, I mean, we'd have to go in front of them and, you know, ask them. if
So
they
anytime we
think
use a
that's
reserve.
something.
Actually, I don't think that's exactly right. The reserve is the TDA's to do it as it wants to.
But we've got to get the budget amended to spend it though.
Correct, but I don't know,
I mean, we did,
And that's just what we've been told as a board as well.
because the budget amendment, we can't do the budget amendment.
you
Town
can't,
board
you
has
can't
to-
amend the town's budget.
Well, that's where our 100,000 comes from.
I understand that, but the reserve is not in the town's budget either. It's not, you know, I think it's at the discretion of this board. But it's something that we need to take a closer look
But
at.
our expenditures would then go over what our budgeted amount is, so we would need them to
Within
amend
the town's budget. But I don't know why the town shouldn't, and that's something we need to look at more closely. And that maybe that March meeting would be a good time to do that. But I don't know why the town board shouldn't, you know, accede to a request from the TDA to spend reserve funds. Now, whether or not you really want to do that,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
that's a different question.
that was put aside for the purpose of in the event that this economy went south, we'd have at least
It's a budget year when you're planning to have no budget.
Right.
It's an
Yeah,
assumption.
right.
There'd
You
be
all know
at least
that.
a year that we could continue at the current rate, but beyond that, you know, we could eat that up in 12 months.
Yeah.
And then where are we?
We ate that up
No,
in
we
6
ate-
months.
right.
I think we also need protocols as far as accessing that reserve. I mean, what's the
We need to know.
green light issue to where we go, okay, we need to use this,
Yeah,
as opposed to just kind of winging it.
and that's something.
But that's what the
we need to
marketing
talk
plan,
about.
we need to know where we're going. We need to decide how much we're gonna improve our grants, how much are we gonna improve for
Absolutely.
advertisement. I mean, where do we wanna spend our dollars and budget that for each one so we know where we're at on all those, instead of just giving money away. Because there's a lot of things that we wanna fund within the next 6 months. And,
Mhm.
but, yeah.
What is that, where does that leave us with? There's several funding requests on the agenda today.
Right.
Are there any that are before the end of the year? I mean, I know they can come back once we have our meeting, but,
Right.
Well,
um,
the Taste
grant
would be,
request for
the
open
Taste of
session.
Scotland would be before our budget year runs out. The Appalachian Trail event, before the year runs out, that's an important. Obviously, the sponsorship for the Smoky Mountain Theater
Yeah.
is before that. Quilts Festival is
Quilts, airing of the
May.
quilts, was that?
Is that May? That's May, that's still before our thing. Folk Festival would be the July, that would be the first one,
The next
fiscal year.
okay.
So an approval on that really doesn't,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm.
if we don't give them a check until next fiscal year.
Mhm.
But then you're taking out of your budget for the next one.
Yeah.
So then you're hitting the
We're
dollars
already
at the
looking
next
at-
year.
We're already approving
Right.
expenditures from next year's
Right.
budget. And, you know, the others could be at a time. Because
Mhm.
the Ruby
Well,
Bash
Ruby
is
Bash
not
is
until August
in
again.
August.
Yeah, so there's time to deal with those issues.
And plus, you don't want to start the new year with no funds at all.
No, that's not wise at all.
No.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I did, just for everybody's information, I did ask, talk to someone today on our little report here, this only covers 6 months, to expand it to and reflect it for you. Because this is, there was a part of this, I don't know what happened to it, but there was. this
Well, I
was-
switched it because it was, the report that was being given was based on a calendar year, so when I recreated that, it's basically now runs July to June. I've just been going in and adding as each month becomes available, but I can go, moving forward, I can go ahead and tally up till June, but there'll just be a zero balance there.
Yeah, you know, you can bring up the collections from previous years.
Mhm.
It's just that we would continue with the zero balance.
Right.
And then we go
Let me
across.
see the-
Yeah. And then that would, at least we're looking at, it changes over a 4-year period, and if we have the whole year there printed, then we know where we're at in the year.
True.
That's what I was looking for.
But I do like the fact that we're running from July to June so that we're not looking and saying, okay, January to December, because most people look that way. And I think that was how a lot of board members looked at it, was that this is what we spent, and this is what we earned, and thinking that that's the money that we had, but we were taking half of 1 year and half of another year.
Mm,
We're trying to
So I
move
think
forward
that
in
would
the
be-
right direction.
I mean, I think what we're basically saying is that the items that will involve anything other than the billboard, which is,
Mhm.
you know, talking about a couple $100 for billboards. You know, anything would be tabled then until after we've got a marketing plan, and we know where we're at, and then we can start. We can start making approvals, but having a pay date for those that works with our budget as
So-
opposed to just.
mm.
approving them and then sending a check out immediately.
Yeah.
Handling the Tony Angel Media proposal going forward, how does that affect that?
The what?
Tony's,
That's deducted from the amount.
Yeah, I know. Well-
Is that-
No.
No, for next year, I mean, we've got, this fiscal year is currently committed, but there's, or was that an annual?
No, mine ended in January.
Isn't it a joke?
Okay. All right.
But if I may I address the board, you know, the projects that you have out there, I'm not gonna let fall, whether you pay me to do them or not.
well, that was my question is,
They-
there's things that are in motion right now that
There are
have to
things
remain
that-
in motion.
Things that have to be taken care of, and I'm gonna take care of them regardless of, I mean, it's too important to the tourism industry here to just let the site sit there and become outdated and obsolete, and I'm just not gonna do that. And if you would like for me to lead your marketing meeting as well, I would be glad to do that for you
I
as well.
think you need to be.
I have no problem with that. It's for the good of the town, and it's for the good of the business community, and it's good for the good of the tourism industry. I'll be more than happy to do that. in
Well, I
March.
don't think that you should go ahead. I think that you're serving a purpose, and it's a good purpose. Like you said, it's for the tourism part. And your total, if I'm right, comes to 3,200 that we would still owe now until then. So you think about that 3,200 from that 10,000.
Right.
That's
And
what
what-
we're at.
That's roughly a month. That's roughly a month.
And if you want to, you know, if you want me to come back with something less, I can do that. Or if you don't want to do anything at all, I can do that.
I'll leave you your copy.
I will do whatever is best for the board and best for the town. That is my promise to you, whatever I can do.
Yeah, we basically have 6 months of income to report.
Right. There's a but.
Yeah.
We were budgeted $100,000.
Right.
But with the March meeting, I think that that's where we need to start splitting and saying where our dollars are going
Right.
and limit that.
Well, before anyone works for free, you know, I mean, my thought is,
That needs
hate
to
to
be.
dip into a reserve, but if anything reserve is used for is something as important as that.
Well, we still have funds.
Right.
But those funds
Yeah.
should be to take care
Take
of what's
care of
already in place.
Short of going ahead and approving the entire proposal for Tony Angel Media, you could, you know, approve to continue on a monthly basis as you have been, but, you know, between now and the marketing report, it's really not fair not to, you know, not to pay
Right.
for the work. So that's another option.
So we could do this. So just for those of you that are doing grants, you're welcome to still present tonight. Just be under the understanding of where we're at with our financials. So if you want, I'll go down the line, and everyone that does want to present, you're welcome to do that. Or you're welcome
I
to
think you
come
better
back.
take a motion from somebody that, you know, pending the outcome of the marketing plan, that all, you know, proposals will be tabled for action. I would take a motion, I wouldn't entertain a
First,
motion.
before we let him know.
Yeah,
Because we don't vote on them tonight anyway.
right.
I'd make that motion, so, with the caveat, as John indicated, continue Tony Angel at least that long. And
On the same monthly basis.
on the
as
same
it has
monthly
been.
basis as it's existing.
Do I have a second? We take
I'll second that.
John, do we
Sorry.
table or not accept and have them come read it?
Table's fine. Table is a
Table?
matter of procedure, just, I mean, it doesn't make any, people, there's a misperception that makes things go away for good, but that really doesn't kill any kind of matter. It just literally puts it on the table until you bring it back down. So it'll be fine.
But before we go any further, And that is true. Okay, just like tonight, the full agenda that we have. This is what we have to realize, because when that comes back in July, okay, we've got all these to go over again. So we have to stop something, because we can't just sit here all night and do grant requests. I mean, so we need to say either these are in July and don't add anything else to July's. And then anything else that comes forward would be August. And we gotta limit it somewhere. Because even, I mean, this is a full. And I think it's fair to them to give them the first one anyway, since they're here tonight.
On the meeting next month, will we be discussing the marketing plan?
Our dollars, what our budget.
Not make any decisions on the current balance and where those dollars are gonna go?
What we
If
can,
anything?
at our next regular scheduled meeting, what we can do, we can just hold it open and I can present to the board the current financial statements, the report as of the March, I think it's the March 11th again, I think it's 11th. And we can take those into consideration, and then, when did you, I thought I saw on the agenda,
The marketing plan is Wednesday, March 20th.
March 20.
and focus on that. That way, we're still all up to date where we're
Yeah,
at.
I think
It
I
doesn't
did
just
that.
go away.
Right.
So do you want to redo your motion or discussion? Does anyone have any questions? Because we're going to have to limit
I mean,
it.
I think your
For the
motion's
work.
fine. I don't think there needs to
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to subcommittee reports, financial budget.
You just
Do you
got
wanna-
it.
Do
You
you
got
have
my
anything
motion.
else further to go? Okay. Policy and procedures, I don't believe that we have anything else to go on that. Any application review? So let's move on to old business. So the grant request, so for tabling, so we need to put those on for the next July meeting. We've already
Yeah, I mean, you just need to keep in mind when July rolls around, some of them may be too late. I mean, that one's not gonna be here.
Yeah, but we can look at our,
I think just,
wait on this.
we can look at, we can look at what the totals are between now and July and see what we need to do, and if we need to request a budget amendment. we can request a budget amendment. Yeah, but that's a decision we need to make at the marketing meeting.
or if we just take it.
Yeah, we're basically tabling it so we can sit down and talk about it.
So let's
Instead of
table
trying to
all the old
discuss it
business
with-
to our March meeting, marketing meeting. Because these are to make decisions on the grant request, so we would need to table those. We can hear the new grants, but we'd have to table those.
Yeah, I mean, until we have a
Yeah.
heading, how are we to?
But I do know, as far as those, we've already discussed with Tony what we will do in the next few months. And then I do know that Nikki and Scotty, you do want to present a sponsorship, correct? That we would need to make a decision and put on our marketing plan as well. So if y'all would like to present, would you still like to do so?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll go ahead with that. Thank you.
We're just making a decision.
These are,
This is in the,
we wanted to give you an idea, we would love for you guys to consider us sponsoring 2013 if it rolls into 2014. However, your marketing plan is going to be working this next year. The booklet, we have the shows that are booked up through June right now. And then I did a list for you guys of some of the acts that have already been added since we have done this booklet. So, you know, pretty much several times a week we're getting new contracts in, things are being added, you know, for the whole year. But I'm going to let Scotty just kind of tell you a little bit about what has gone on just in the past month of 2013, some numbers, what we're looking at just for 2013 in general.
We do hope when you look at your marketing plan that you maybe include us as part of your marketing plan. If it's a pledge you can make monthly, if it's just a pledge that over a span of time that hopefully marketing you can assist us with these things. Just to give you some numbers about what we've been doing and the differences in the past year, which we do credit to the grants that's been given to us by the TDA. That this time last year, our January through June events, we had sold, as of February 11th, 2012, 6,111 tickets. As of today, February 11th, 2013, our January through June events are now 9,544 tickets. So we've gone up over 3,400 tickets in comparison to this same day last year. We credit that to being able to do more advertising outside of our normal bounds. We credit that to bringing more people in because of that advertising and getting the word out more so. Just an example, Tim Hawkins, which was our first show of this year, 2012, on January 18th, was a sold-out crowd, and 85.4% of those people were outside of the Macon County zip code. I'm sorry, 2013. If you look at that, dead of January, dead of winter, to bring in 85% of that crowd to be from out of town, that's a pretty spectacular number. So we do hope that you'll consider us in your marketing plan. I can give you some specific numbers we would like to see, if that would be possible. If you would like to further talk, so that way I don't take up all this time, about how we can incorporate our schedules into your marketing plan, we would love to do that too. Considering your financial state, it might be kind of not appropriate for us to ask for specific numbers, but we do know that we feel like we are bringing in more and more and more, just considering the amount that we've grown since this time last year in ticket sales from January through June. As Nikki said, our summer and our fall is yet to be announced because a lot of those contracts are still in limbo. We have to wait till we get signed off before we can announce any of those things. But we have gone in a little different direction with our show scheduling this year, a little more variety to it. So we feel that we're getting more of a different crowd here, as well as respecting those people who have supported us in the past, as you can see by our numbers and shows. Just this past week we did Alice in Wonderland. We did 3,300 school kids during the day, of kids, teachers, parents, and
a lot from out of town.
all the way from,
Yeah.
we went from Habersham County in Georgia all the way through the other side of Murphy in North Carolina, Asheville, and all of those people take booklets with them back to their classrooms, to their teachers, to their parents and things like that. So not only do we, just do normal concert stuff, but we have things happening during the day too, so that we can get as much out there as possible. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have when it comes to your marketing meeting. And as a matter of fact, would love to, but just let me know how we can become a part of maybe just a permanent structure of the market, because we do feel that we bring in quite a bit of tourism to this area. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to see your specific numbers.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you right now, or do you want me to tell you later?
If
Before
you've got
you
them
do
in
that.
writing, I
Okay.
thought you had them in writing that you could pass.
Okay.
Yeah, you can give them.
Can you also tell us where all you market?
Oh,
so that they
gracious.
know and how much you mail out
Okay.
and who's all getting this?
We did a big postcard campaign, I think that I told you about the last time we were here, that went specifically towards northern South Carolina. We've been seeing a larger draw to that. We actually just did a new marketing campaign with for the 3-in-1 tour that you'll see in your booklet, which is the on Sunday, February 24th. We did that out of Atlanta with the Fish, which reaches a huge, gigantic area. So we advertised heavily in the Atlanta area for that, which I actually had someone call me that lives in Knoxville that said they had heard our ad from the Fish in Atlanta in Knoxville. We do have radio station in Black Mountain that's helping us promote. They're doing it just out of the support of the arts like that. We exchange with them. They can bring frisbees and give them out at things like that. We are expanding in different magazines. We've explored some different magazines, some different insert things. We promote heavily North Georgia and are now moving more heavily towards northern South Carolina too. Does that answer your question at all?
These go to our
Yeah, those we did probably
mail outs.
30,000 of those, and in April we'll be doing another probably 50,000 of new booklets.
And then plus they're given out to the people who come to the concerts and of course all that, but that's a lot.
And we are members of, I think, 5 chambers of commerces in surrounding areas, so all of those go to those too, so they're distributed and so on.
And you put them in the hotels too.
Yeah, I mean, we try to saturate hotels, restaurants. We have table tent cards that are set up just in the surrounding areas. We have a lady who will just get in her car, is it once or twice a week, with our flyers with upcoming concerts, and she's going to all the surrounding counties, passing those out, putting them in businesses, just wherever. She knocks on the door, and if somebody says, yes, you can put a flyer up, she pretty much does. So, I mean, it's being saturated very, very well.
And we're seeing our numbers change too. We're getting people, in New York State that are coming down in the summer and wanting to know what our schedule is for the summer. We have residents from Florida, Texas. We've had several from Ohio, which is kind of strange. We've got a lot of Ohio people coming to visit. So it's not just surrounding counties, but we're getting more and more states incorporated into our numbers.
So talking numbers, so we can talk on our marketing plan. What would you like to see from the TV?
Well, considering
range.
not knowing what your budgets are and things like that, and noticing that you say you have $100,000 to spend for your fiscal year, we actually had the intention of asking for $50,000 for a year support, which ends up being $4,100 a month. When you consider the amount that you've given us in the past, $10,000 for one specific event, to save $4,000 to support an entire month is actually seems a much better deal. Like I say, we didn't know any of your budget numbers or anything until you come here, so you're like thinking, whoa, that's half of our budget, or half of your budget. But if you also consider 85% of one audience is outside of our zip code. You think of the traffic that's bringing in, whether they all stay in a hotel or not. Just the sheer numbers that we can influence out-of-town visitors and things. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
We're going to have to start a club as much as we meet up with each other.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's one thing I think we should say. This is not a Duffy method. This is setting up the plan. That's all this is.
But before we go any further, now some of these, the old business, these are going to be out before we can I mean, as far, what do we have? Is it Taste of Scotland listing?
Yeah, I think that's what Mike was saying earlier, Taste of Scotland is before.
Yeah,
We
that's
actually
it.
meet, so.
The Appalachian Trail is in April. I think we need to make a decision on what we're going to do to finish this year. That's part of that.
Right.
And then
We've heard from
look at next year.
Taste of Scotland.
Yeah.
Did you guys, I know they're here, I don't know.
Which we did, and this is just because the decision that we made to table everything will affect these people that have already come to us for grant request. So, I mean, and we're saying right now that we can't fund anything.
They're on here for a billboard as well.
Yes, it's something.
Yeah,
And we
I mean, we
can
go ahead and
do
do that.
do that.
We can go ahead and do the billboard. I mean, that's
Is that a motion?
not like that's.
No,
That's-
because we have,
No, I made that, I thought that was part of the motion originally.
no.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the billboards for the Taste of Scotland.
How
As soon as
many?
they can get those to Tony.
Do you know
Whatever
who's
we
gonna be
approved. Whatever was available. How many?
everything, after the gun. You have all the boards, with the exception of the 2 vinyl ramps. So
Yeah.
there's nothing committed to like.
Okay.
Two. Everything else motion.
Well, how many do they specify in the application?
We normally grant, but
Yeah, normally it's 2. I don't know that it's in there. I don't see it.
it just said requested billboards for the festival, that's all they said.
What's the, in the past, how many have we done?
The most two times.
Yeah, well, so we're talking a couple $100. 250.
Do what we've done in the past?
So that was a motion
To approve
to
that.
approve the billboards for the Taste of Scotland. And do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You guys understand our situation, our financial situation, and you
Yeah, I
know,
think we do.
billboards is, I mean, we do what we can.
So
Yeah.
if I can address the board, does that mean that that will all we be getting this year, or is that still up for negotiations in your March meeting?
Well, everything's tabled, but we can do the billboards at this time, so that's the only thing that we can grant at this time.
But we're not denying it. We're not denying
Yeah,
it.
we're not
But
denying
we're just-
any funding. It may be,
But
it
you-
may be coming
Like,
later.
May I
I mean,
make a
I think-
suggestion?
Maybe the,
Yes.
go ahead, son, I'm sorry.
This is just a thought. We all have them. What if we tabled, either voted on this tonight, the requests, all the requests that have come under old business, give them yes, no, or we would go ahead and send it to the March meeting and have either a yes or no answer in March to see where the financial status is and leave it at that. I'm worried that if we start tabling everything to July, one of 2 reasons. One, if we table everything to July, we're gonna get in the same boat we're already in. We're gonna start a new fiscal year
And spending all our money.
with prior commitments. The second thing, some of these, like the Taste of Scotland, the Appalachian Trail, that it'll be passed. Those festivals will be passed by the time July comes around. That's my only concern. That's why,
I think that's something,
That's-
because I was talking, was to table until after the March 20th.
Yeah, I don't think I'm.
After the
I
March
didn't-
20th.
July.
I didn't table
Okay.
it till July. I said until March
because these are
20th.
before July. they
March
were-
20th is what you want
Once
to
we
table.
figure out where we're at and what we've got to do,
Yeah.
then we can decide.
Right, 'cause they would need to know
What
something
gets paid,
definitely
what-
Right,
before
that's
that.
what I want to be clear on.
So I'm not talking about shutting off anything that we've approved or whatever already.
So should we come back to the March meeting, or what should we do?
See, the March 20th is reserved for the retreat.
Well, the March 20th would be,
That's when we would
The
make
suggest-
our marketing plan.
The suggestion I was gonna make is there any particular reason it's gotta be in a retreat, the marketing plan discussion? Is there
Well,
any reason?
basically, we need a budget. We can't be doing agendas with grant requests and everything. We want it specifically just for
Focus.
that.
Well, I understand. I understand the desire to focus in on that, but I think maybe in terms of just efficiency and to let people know at least when to expect an answer, you could look at taking on the strategic marketing plan. I know it's a lot, and it's gonna be a long meeting, but look at taking that on at your regular meeting, March 11th. At least dealing with all old requests at the March, your current requests that you have as of now at that March 11th meeting.
The regular.
Yes.
Yes, that's
And
what.
just plow through it.
Yes.
And continue that meeting. If it's going too long and people just can't stand it anymore, continue to
March 20th.
Or
or the next day or
have
whatever.
the strategic marketing plan meeting before the scheduled meeting, a week before or something, if you want to have it separate, as a whole separate
Well, it is
budget meeting.
separate.
What he was saying about putting it on the same day as, right?
I'm just trying to suggest a way
Right.
to let people who have a pending
To move
request that they've
forward.
already or are tonight going to make, to have some, to know the definite date when, because it's kind of hanging out there otherwise.
Right.
So.
Was that not a definite date?
It's after the March 20th is after our regular scheduled meeting.
Right.
So if we could have it either before the regular scheduled meeting or the same day as the regular TDA meeting. But if we have it before, let's just say a week, I'm just throwing this out, if we have that marketing plan meeting a week before our regularly scheduled meeting, then on our regularly scheduled meeting, we can have a decision for those.
To expedite an answer.
Right. Because some of these are coming up, in
Well,
3 months.
changing between now and then.
Nothing with the current financial status. I mean, we basically have.
That's why I'm saying we'll be tabling it and nothing's changing. I mean, it's still the same. We're in the same boat that we were this month.
But if you have the marketing plan meeting before or at that next regular meeting, then, because that seems to be the holdup for the request from now until the end of this year, right?
And actually, if we wind up, if we've only got $10,000 left, and we wind up that we only need to approve 8,000.
Right.
There's no pay, no foul. We go ahead and do that, and the checks
grant
just
nothing
flow.
else for the rest of the year.
They just flow. But we've got to know where we're at with all of this stuff, and we need to then maybe budget. And maybe something that would have gotten approved in June or July actually doesn't get paid until closer to the event. I'm not talking about shutting it off, it's just, we need to look at what our Atlanta deal is doing. Maybe we need to cut back on the Atlanta advertising, but that's a decision this
The
group
land
needs to
stuff is
make.
done, correct?
So, I mean.
So what was, but I'm trying to figure out, just to stick to where we've been doing it legal, everything that, just because of where we are. We still have 6 months, basically, not even 6
Yeah.
months, I'm sorry.
And in that 6 months,
We've got 4
10
months.
grand.
We got 4 months.
Right.
So we have 10 grand. We have the request right now, which
Right.
is 6,800. That would leave us with 2,000 for the rest of the year. Our fiscal year.
Okay, at this point.
So I'm saying, why keep tabling it when we know, we need to go ahead and make a
We don't-
decision.
Yeah, we
Because
will
we're
make
gonna
a
be no different than
decision
we are now.
after that meeting. If you want to move that meeting up to the 11th, that's fine, we don't have to.
But our marketing meeting is for our next year, our next fiscal year. It's not.
Right.
Right.
We don't have any,
It's for,
Yeah.
yeah.
anything to allocate.
But these things.
Yeah, if we
before
can have
that.
something, and you guys please chime in. The kind of thought where I was at when we've been discussing the marketing plan is we would start working on it and pretty much have something in place. So when July 1 rolls around, we can get out our little black and white piece of paper and say, this is what we've been working on. July the 1st, we're now enacting this, and follow through to that plan. I guess my only concern is where we're at now. I don't want to leave organizations in limbo, wondering when they're supposed to come, when they're not. To me, the marketing plan, and this is just my opinion, so just feel free to, chime in, should take us when we start the fiscal year of July 2013 to 2014. I think we're dealing with two separate issues. You're dealing with our marketing plan we desperately need to prevent us from getting to where we are next year at this time. What we need to look at tonight, and even at our March meeting, we basically have $10,500 left to get us from today until June the 30th. And how we want to commit those funds is something I think we need to look at. I don't think by having the marketing plan now or next week is going to solve the situation we're in now.
Right, two separate issues.
So that's my
Okay,
point.
so
Balance of the 10,000.
Our fiscal year is July 1 to June 30th.
And that's the marketing, that's what we're
Yeah,
gonna just.
our marketing strategy
Okay,
is
why
what
did
we're
we
doing with
table
tonight.
everything then? That's, I thought
Yeah,
it was
that's,
because.
I don't know, that's
discussion
what
of
my
the-
argument,
I'm trying to figure out why we're taking
I
it to
thought-
next month when our marketing is. for
I thought some
2014.
of this discussion was gonna be in that March 20th meeting, but you're saying.
So we want to
you're
spend our
saying
dollars
no.
for 2014 or 2013, when it's not even here yet. Because that's where we got ourselves into a mess this year. We were committing dollars from next
No, I'm
year
talking
this
about for
time.
the remainder of this fiscal year and these requests that
We
are
have
sitting here right now.
$10,000.
We have $10,000
Left.
So why do we table these requests right now?
I don't know, he'll tell me.
Well,
That's
there
why
was a
I'm asking,
motion and
well, let's
a
just go
second
ahead
and
and do
everybody
it.
voted. So I thought,
That
I
was-
thought it was gonna be discussed. I thought the reason it was being
Yeah.
tabled was to discuss it on March 20th. But if March 20th is for, doesn't even have to do with this year's, right? You're saying that March 20th meeting is for next year's. Has
Well-
nothing to do with these grant requests?
Can we not decide at
No.
March 11th
I mean,
meeting to how to allocate the rest of
If we
the
could.
the
we
existing
could.
budget? We can budget that 10,000, whatever.
But our marketing
Right.
plan should not be
No.
included with
Right,
that.
so then why don't we do that tonight, though? I mean,
Yeah,
they're
why are we
waiting, they're
tabling?
waiting
Because
a
we know we
year.
only have $10,000.
I mean, they would like
So-
to know if they're gonna be, and we're just be putting it off on the, we're,
For what?
Right? Yeah.
Because our dollars are not gonna change. I
Right.
mean, that's what I'm saying. They're not gonna change from this month to
Yeah,
next
but
month.
if we're looking at it that way, then we have requests for events, either pending or already to vote on. I only see $4,000.
Do we not just grant? for-
And then we've
the
got-
benefit at home year pay?
We got trail days for 2,000, right?
No, that was taken care of. That's in the 16,000 that we still owe in the commitments. Tonight,
That's what I mean. Trail days has already been approved and is in process. That's 2,000.
yes, it's in process.
what do we have left, like, from the request that we actually have before us?
We've got 4,000 in the two requests tonight that are immediate, that will occur before the date of the
2,500 for the Taste of Scotland?
2,500 for the Face of Scotland and
Mhm.
1,500 for the Airing of the Pools Festival. Those will definitely take place before June 30th.
Right.
Yes.
Plus the remainder for Tony for the next few months.
4
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, so
Which
we're
is
looking at
3,200.
3,200.
Right now,
So that's
right now, if you
7,000.
voted to approve, under old unfinished business, if you voted to approve items A through D, you're looking at I had it figured out, it's like right at 6,200.
Okay.
6,000
Well, I've
I got
said
72.
out of the
I'm-
10.
But I've got a problem with, that I would like to discuss with C,
Okay.
because while that's a good thing, I don't know that it's not gonna be local. It's not gonna be a local event. And that's a sponsorship for the trail and not for,
Okay, so before we get to that point, do we want to go ahead and discuss these and do this now instead of tabling it when we know that there's, what we have is what we have? And then we also have all this new business as well. Right?
Basically, we've got 10,000 to work with from now to June,
Mhm.
and then when we start working on our marketing plan, it needs to be focused on
July.
July forward.
okay.
That's fine. The only reason I suggested the motion to table is because I thought that you were trying to express to anybody who's here, A, we're not making any allocations of funds from requests from.
That was
last
my
time.
recommendation.
Okay, but I mean,
And that's why I think when the motion the way I did, I couched it that way, so that we're not making expenditure funds, but if we're all agreed that we have 10,000 right now that we can spend between now and July 1st, then, you know, and I only see, like I said, I only see the 3,200,
Plus everything else that no one's come to us.
3,200 and 2,500, well, yeah, but there's gonna be a point where we're gonna say, sorry, if it comes to that. But the other events that are scheduled for July and August, and that, they don't need to get a check before July.
So you want to dip into the funds for 2014?
No, they don't need to get a check before July. We will be receiving money after July.
To go
We'll be
over a budget
deciding,
of
we'll be
100,000.
deciding on whether to grant request.
No, we're still talking about being under our budget. Because we make a commitment, but the check is not gonna be paid until we're in our new fiscal year. I mean, we've gotta commit some money here. It's not gonna be paid out until the new fiscal year, so it's not coming out of the 100,000. It's not there.
But it's being granted in the 2000. I'm confused, I'm sorry.
It's being granted
Being approved.
because that's just the way the timeline flows. It doesn't matter when the grant is made, it matters when the payment is made. That's what I'm talking about.
So, for example, let's say the Ruby Dash, you're talking about,
That's
if we,
August.
let's say it's in August, so if we say, yes, we're gonna give them money, we make that decision now, but then they
So
don't
why
get
even
any
do a
money.
budget?
They're not getting any money until,
Well, then
next year.
we've got it budgeted in the budget.
yeah, well,
But
that's,
I-
we're gonna be,
I
we're gonna
said-
be doing the marketing, the meeting on how, where we're gonna put the money.
Right.
But I'm just saying, he's saying that if we can approve things ahead of time, obviously after we have our meeting, and what we've decided where money goes, but
So where's
I
that
mean,
money
I thought the
coming from?
approach, that's coming out of next
Next
year's
fiscal
money.
year.
Next fiscal year.
Well, I don't think we should do that. I don't think we should be granting things from next year when it hasn't even got here. It's because you're making the assumption that we're gonna spend money now for next year, and that's what got us in this mess to
Then-
begin with.
That's fine. Then we
That was
can-
my point.
We can table those things that are gonna occur
Right.
after next year. We said we had $10,000 left for this fiscal year.
talking about different things.
And I couched this that we weren't spending any money at all
Well, I was just being a
until
recommendation.
after we had this meeting. And after we have this meeting, then we can decide on who gets what.
Well, the marketing plan, so let me rephrase on this. The marketing plan is our marketing plan from our budget for our next fiscal year.
Okay.
Starting July 1 to June 3rd. All
I
right?
think Mike and I both made the assumption, though, that it would also include your planning for how to allocate the rest of your 10,000
Yeah.
some odd
Well, I'm
dollars.
sorry if I
And
didn't make
that's
it
why I
clear, but I
seconded
do
it.
not want to start dipping into a budget that's not even here yet.
I'm not
We're not talking about dipping, we're talking about taking care of these right here that are before us. It's Chase of Scotland,
Out of
2,500.
10,000.
Right.
Out of the 10,000.
Right.
I mean, if you want to do
That's what he
that,
was-
then that's fine, then that
Okay, then we're
motion
just
was-
sitting here arguing, so let's, if we're gonna do that, that's what we need to know, if we're gonna move
I
forward on
mean,
this.
I was under the impression that we weren't going to spend any money tonight.
All I did was
That
make
we
a
would have our
recommendation.
meeting, make our decisions,
Right.
and then spend. Now, if you want to do it tonight, then
Well, I don't see
we
the
can-
point of
we
keep
can-
tabling it.
Then that's what I'm saying. is that We could have talked about this under the original motion. We have $2,500 on the table that will occur before June. We've got that. We've got $1,500 on the table that will occur before June. We've got $3,200 on the table that will occur before June. So when you add those two up, you're still under our $10,000.
And that
If
leaves
you
us how
want to
much?
approve those,
That's 7,200 out of 10,000, whatever, 500,000.
if you want to approve those, we can go ahead and
Okay, well,
approve
it's up to
those.
the board, if you wanna do that, you can. It's up to you.
I mean, that's everything, because we've approved a couple $100 for the Taste of Scotland. We've got to talk about the Appalachian Trail Biennial. We're going to continue, we talked about continuing monthly payments to Tony Angel Media on their proposal. The theater, we're going to look at in next year. We're
Right.
not giving them any money this year. We're giving them money next year in a sponsorship arrangement. And we've got to talk about that.
So let's go with A.
Taste of Scotland, $2,500.
Yes.
No, wait,
We
I have
already
a question.
approved two
What about the
buildings.
motion that's already been voted on to table everything? Do we
Everybody
need
should start
to?
with a motion to remove it from the table and discuss it.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Just
Did we
one,
have
one
a
other
motion?
suggestion, and this might take care of, and I'll stop making suggestions. They're not being helpful. Would be to entertain a motion to accept the proposals that are listed in item 7 for action along with all old unfinished business listed in 6 at the March 11th meeting, with instruction this summer to let any future applicants know for this year up until the end of this fiscal year, there will be no other grants funded, because you're not going to have to pass that anyway. And then that way you can both let everybody know, if you're on the agenda for tonight, your decision is going to be made March 11th. Does that make sense?
That works for me. A lot more sense than
Is
what
there
I've been hearing for the last 20
anyone,
minutes.
anything under the new business that is before the end of this fiscal year?
Yes, the first time.
And that's it?
Yeah, everything
Okay.
else comes after. Well, good.
Okay.
So everyone that was old business, besides the billboards that we've already approved for
Right.
the Taste of Scotland, we will discuss that and have a decision on our March 11th meeting.
Should we come to that meeting, or?
No.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Is that right?
I'd like
It's a
to-
regular board meeting.
By the way, I'd like to thank you
No,
for the
that's-
$250 for the billboards. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
And please consider us, because the Taste of Scotland has got a huge upside.
Yeah.
No, we do.
Look forward to it.
For looking at it now. You said you wanted to do this.
Well, I thought we just, John, would you like to speak for me?
I mean, if it were me, I would entertain a motion to the effect that all old business as listed on this agenda and any new requests will be considered for final action at the March 11th meeting, with instruction this summer that any future applicants looking for funding between now and the end of this fiscal year are told that there will be no more grants funded in this fiscal year.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
So is that-
And I need to read that.
All in favor?
Okay, before we vote, why are we pushing it back? Is there anything going to change between tonight and March 11th? I mean, I'm just wondering, why are we?
Yes, here's what's different. You will have all of the requests that you have, either they've already been made and proposals made, and all the people who are here to propose tonight, all of them are going to know when the date that you will take final action on it. And anybody else who comes in between now and the end of this fiscal year will be told, don't even bother unless you're
Right.
talking about getting it to us for planning for our 2013-14.
14 budget.
All right.
That's the point.
Is that, yes.
Okay.
And that gives us the time to break everything, because then if we went ahead and approved everything that was old and didn't even listen to the new, I mean, it doesn't give anyone the chance to, you know, because, I mean, this is news to all of us and them. So I think it's only fair that we listen to the new, and then we can all think about it until March 11th and say how much we're gonna disperse, or if we're gonna disperse it. Is that,
So we'll be listening to the new business tonight, though?
yes.
Okay.
I'd like to.
Okay.
If that's okay with the board. Okay.
So this is technically,
You got a motion.
So next.
Is all in favor?
aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Okay.
Because I was ready to add, if we were going to add penalties, we'll do that.
Okay, so
That's
if
fine.
we could move on to the new business and hear the funding request from all the new business. We'll start with A, funding request billboard for the airing of the quilt deck.
Having sat around that table for 4 years myself, I do not envy you the difficult decisions you've had to make, but I know that each and every one of you wants what's best for this town, so I thank you for your service. I'm coming before you tonight for advertising funds for the airing of the quilts. This will be the 3rd year of this event. When it first started, it was just a simple idea to try to get people to town to look at the blocks on our quilt trail. We had no idea what a response we would get that first year. Last year, we added events on Friday, we added vendors on Saturday, we added quite a few things, and actually put heads on beds Thursday and Friday night for people who came in early to go to the workshop on Friday and then attend the event on Saturday. This year, we've added even more events. We have 2 special events on Friday, a workshop with a special teacher from Texas We also have a slideshow and lecture on Friday night with the author of the book, Barn Quilts and the American Quilt Trail. We have a Civil War reenactor coming in from Florida on Saturday who will present a presentation about quilts and their what they did back in the Civil War and why they were important. We again have a certified appraiser coming in for 2 days because the one we had last year was overworked the one day she was here and could not take everybody. A representative from the North Carolina Quilt Alliance who will record family histories on their quilts, and there's a website where you can go to for all of that. Rickman Store and Pleasant Hill Church will be open again for tours. Last year, Snow Hill Inn was open, and we hope that they will be again this year. And we encourage all of our Quilt Trail block owners to have something special on their site to bring people there. I'm already getting phone calls from people planning to come to town on Wednesday this year so that they can tour other things here in town, come to the workshop and presentation on Friday night, and be here for Saturday. One thing our downtown merchant said was that day was great for sales last year, and that it actually brought in, and this is their words, a better class of shopper. We had sign-in sheets in 2 different places in town last year, and we know that we had people here from 12 different states that attended the event. And what we're asking for is $1,500 to help toward advertising and 2 billboards. Anything that you might can help us with will be appreciated.
Thanks.
Question? You did tracking last year too, didn't you?
Yeah, that's where we knew we had 12 different states of people coming in.
And how did you do that?
We had a sign in here because we actually had an indoor show, and we had at our information booth down at the gazebo, we asked them to sign in there. We asked them also to tell us where they heard about the event. And we know that the advertising was about, whether it was print media, radio, TV, was about balanced with all of those medias.
And you didn't get any resistance of getting that information, did you?
No.
Okay. That's what I just wanted.
Yeah, we just said, we'd like to make it better next year, so tell us how you found out about us.
Did you collect their email address, zip codes, that sort of thing, or was
We
that
just
all-
had them put their states.
Gotcha.
Is there any other questions? What'd you do in our March meeting? Okay, moving on to the request and billboard request for the Franklin Book Festival.
Pass around the,
Here's the billboard request. This is the 10th year for the Franklin Folk Festival. It's the first year that they have asked to partner with the Franklin Main Street program. They came to us in November of 2012 and said that, we really want to continue the folk festival. We just do not have the coordination to be able to do it. So the Main Street program voted and decided that we would partner with them this year. So as I said, this is the 10th year. We will be closing Main Street again, closing Iowa Street and Phillip Street. We have the quilt show up at Tartan Hall, and we also will be using this room as part of the festival. I have a lot of the same things that we've had in the past. We'll have the reenactors down at Frogtown. So pretty much the whole town will be filled with folk festival attendees. And we're asking for 2 billboards and $2,000 to help us with advertising.
Is there any questions from the board? Thank you. And if you would also be moving on to the funding request and billboard request for the Ruby Bash Rally. Karen.
Did you say my name, or do I need to say? My name is Karen Flowers, and I'm representing the Dedicated Bikers of Western North Carolina. We're the ones that put on the Ruby Bash Bike Rally, and this year will be our 5th annual. And we're really excited about it. We have a lot of new ideas for this year. Hopefully we're gonna, add to what we had last year. Matt, you joined us, and we were greatly appreciated to see you there. We have basically pretty much, we kind of have the same thing on the agenda. We're gonna change a few things up. We're gonna make things a little bit bigger, you know, of what we had from last year. We're looking at expanding our advertising. We need to do that we need to go out of the states. We need to get Florida people. We need to get the Georgia people. You know, motorcycle people, they travel from everywhere, you know, to this area because it's beautiful. It's well known to a lot of, you know, tourists that do the motorcycle thing, and because we've got so many different accommodations and stuff and motels, and you know, it's a great place for everybody to, you know, enjoy the natural beauty of what we have, and that's our goal, other than the fact that we try to give back to the community. That's one of our main things that we've, you know, focused on over the last 4 years, is giving back to our community, trying to do something to generate money, you know, to give back to our children. Last year we did Toys for Tots. We did okay with that. We're hoping this year it's going to be bigger. We're hoping this, you know, every year we learn as we go. We add, you know, we change. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. We're excited about this year. We have a lot of people that are interested. We've got a lot more people this year that are wanting to volunteer. You know, we're open to ideas, you know, different ideas. People go to different rallies and different things, you know, that we, you know, get ideas from. And that's what this is all about. So, but this year, the actual rally is going to be held on the 30th and the 31st of August, which is Labor Day weekend. And we plan to have concerts again this year. House Howard Band is going to return again this year, so we're really excited about that. Other than that, don't want to take up a lot of your time, and hope you guys will take us in consideration for some funding. We would definitely appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions, I've been here, you know, and explain this, and we're still excited about the whole thing. So,
How many billboards were you requesting, Karen?
Anything. I mean, we had 2 last year.
Okay.
We would really and truthfully like to have them a little bit longer. You know, like maybe a month prior to the event. I think last year, because you guys fit us in, you did so well for us and you fit us in, but we'd like to have a little bit more road time, you know, so people are more apt to see it. You know, we're going to.
That's what you got last year.
2 is what we got last year, yeah. And Tony did a great job. Thank you, Tony. You did a good job. And we probably will do the same thing again this year, because we're going to have that same return band this year. But other than that, if anybody's got any questions.
No, you hosted it. Sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
You're asking for 7,500?
We're asking for 7,500, and ever how many billboards is available for the time?
And last year we gave you
Nothing. We came and
We've never received.
we've never received funding, I
Except
should
for,
say.
we got billboards.
We got billboards, yeah.
okay.
So we're just looking to have a good year this year. We really are. We're other states and stuff that are saying, hey, what's going on? When are we gonna, you know, are we doing the rally again? And what's the dates? And so we're getting a lot of feedback from last year. So that's what we're working on. We're really going on that. So,
Anything
And I might
else?
have missed this, but are you hosting it in the same place?
yes, same location. And it is the last weekend of the month, which falls on Labor Day weekend this year, which we're thinking, being it's for a Friday and a Saturday, that everybody else will have 2 more days to spend with their family and stuff for the weekend. So that's what we're looking for.
Turnout should be good for a 4-day weekend.
I hope so. You know, because you do see, and I remember last year, or year before last, I do remember after the rally, I do remember seeing a lot of motorcycles for Labor Day weekend, and I thought, wow, that'd be a good idea. And we just really kind
It
of tried to
just fell
stay
into
away from
place.
it.
It just fell into place when we do it, so it just, why not?
So we hope that it's going to be better, you know, more participants. Last year we were happy. We had people from out of town. We had approximately 350 people for the entire weekend, but we had rain issues. And us bikers don't like rain issues. We just don't, you know. But, you know, there's some, they're diehard bikers and they have the gear and they're ready to go. You know, they don't care if it's raining or not. But, you know, some people are kind of picky like us and say, what kind of...
Well, you can't predict.
Can't predict the weather. We only hope for the best, so. But if you guys would take us in consideration, we would be greatly appreciated. And I have some insurance information for you, Ms. Summer, if you'd like for me to do that.
Was there any other questions? And can you plan to be at the March meeting?
Are we gonna be back by then? We'll be back
Yeah.
then, won't we?
It's March the 11th.
Yeah, we're going to Daytona.
Oh, very nice.
No, actually,
This is.
Monday night, we're gonna be coming in Monday
One
night,
additional
Monday
insurance.
evening, so.
Okay, the question that I have for you
But we-
guys,
If you can.
do, if in an event we get funding from you, do we need to carry you as an additional insurance?
And this is a minor letter to the town attorney. Okay, I can have her answer.
This is a quote for 2 additional insurance. We had to carry additional insurance on another piece of property last year, so this is for 2, and that is for, there's 0, 1, and 2, so you can have all of those quotes.
If you went ahead and got the quotes for additional insured, that's perfect. That's, if the TDA funds, that's what we'll be looking for.
Right,
And so
right,
that's-
and it's really, as far as
That's
our
perfect.
budget's concerned, we kind of considered that. So we put a budget of $600 in for our insurance this year,
Okay.
but it came up a little bit less than that, so that's a good thing, that makes it a lot better for us. But I wanted to provide that,
Yes,
you
thank
know,
you
for
very
you
much.
guys. And in the event, you know, we get the funding, we'll get that taken care of.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Moving on, funding request for the Hiker Transportation, Ron Haven.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for working hard at this too. I think what it sounds like is kind of like me in real life. We're all financially embarrassed right now, is that right? Anyway, 15 years ago, you hardly ever saw any hikers here in Franklin because when they left Hiawassee, they'd go straight to Western because the trail goes right through where they can resupply. There's a restaurant there, an outfitter. There's a hostel, place to wash your clothes, the internet they had then, and we were 11 miles away. So I started working hard to bring people into Franklin, and the hiker season is starting right now. I'm already renting rooms to them. By the 1st of March, we should be having somewhere around 75 a day coming in, but the middle of March we should be having around 150 to 200 a day coming in to Franklin. There's about half of those who stay with me, but there's also the other half that stays in other places or just comes into Franklin and resupplies and goes back to the trail. Last year I spent around $16,000 in hiker transportation, consisting of insuring my bus. I think it cost, I can't remember for sure, but it's over $3,000 a year just in insurance for it. Gas would probably be $4 a gallon again, and I was spending between $100 and $150 a day last year for all the vehicles. Not only do I have the bus, but I have got 5 vans that I use also, not all of them here, some in Hiawassee. About 3 years ago, the TDA funded some money, and so what I did was sold them an advertisement to put on the bus. And my picture's a little blurry because I took it with my camera, but if you want to pass it around, I still have that advertisement of the TDA on it. So if you could fund some money on helping with some gas, and if you can't, I understand just as well. And I'm hoping to help build your income in this kitty back up just a little bit, because we can talk these people into staying all night with us. There's going to be several motels that will benefit from it. But I had asked for a half of my expense in grant funds, and as I say, I understand if you don't have it, now it's fine. And if there's any questions anybody would like to ask about it, basically all I do is I go get the hikers. I spend in the bus at least 3 trips a day going to the mountains to get these hikers. And in the evening at 4 o'clock, I work till 9 o'clock at night for about 2 months, hauling these people to restaurants, to shopping centers, grocery stores, outfitters, and getting to resupply, however, that they're going to be resupplying to go back to the trail. And I think, Candy, you was over there last year when I had that Rotary deal where I brought the hikers, and I had one hiker that I was sort of proud of, that he had receipts with him where he'd spent $1,800 at Three Eagles Outfitters, and the other one's $1,100 at 76. And I was really proud of that. I thought, man, I bet they've never had a sale like that. And so Jackie out at Three Eagles says she's had them to spend over $3,000. But the average hiker coming into town, in surveys we've run in the past, each one spends between $300 and $500 each. They also are 5,000 to 7,000 comes through here. There's people that's got different numbers for different things. We also got groups that comes through that will spend 100, 150 miles on the trail helping people get started. So anyway, I thank you very much for listening at me, and if nobody has any questions whatsoever, I'm going to leave it as long as I'm going to see if my kids are winning the ball game against your brother's team. No. They're the only ones that can beat them. Any questions?
Is there any questions from the board?
Thanks very much,
Thank you,
Emily.
Robert.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay, we also have an update from Story Point Media. Sequoia.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's been butchered so many ways and so many
Well, I
times.
didn't mean to butcher it. I'm
It's
sorry.
fine.
Mr. Coleman.
That's perfect. Well, naturally, then I started looking for my dad, so maybe that's not good.
And Jesse.
What we wanted to do was just talk with everyone about the Hugo Tour app. Just is everyone familiar with it, or okay? The tour app, the Hugo Tour app.
You weren't here though.
Then very briefly, I'll give an update. Our company, StoryPoint Media, was involved in the development of the tourism app that we did in association with Smoky Mountain Host, the TDA, and the chamber here in Franklin, as well as other counties in Western North Carolina as well. 12 total, 7 counties in Western North Carolina that participated in. Essentially, with combined funds from the TDA and the chamber, they purchased a series of videos that help to highlight specific historic attractions within the Franklin area. These videos are included on an app that's available on iPhone systems as well as Android systems. So the app has been developed. Initially, when we began working on the app, our company is really a content production studio. We focus on video and digital media. So we were structured the networking infrastructure for the app itself. When that began, we realized that there were some problems with it, and so we actually ended up hiring a development team to build an app from scratch to deliver everything. In between the time when that first app was up and the second app came online, there was a bit of a downtime. The time that the TDA and the chamber had paid for was that initial year. Unfortunately, we were having some problems, and so when we switched over, we put all of the videos, even though the initial time that had been paid for had expired, we transported all those videos and all of that content to the current app. That app is in place now. That app is up, and as we mentioned at the chamber meeting last month, all of the videos and all the content that's in place will remain on the app without any further charge to the TDA or the chamber until May of next year. So it's an additional bonus on there. In addition, we're also doing some revisions and updates to the app so that it performs better. We spoke last month at the chamber meeting that we'll have analytics and tracking and reporting data that we'll be sharing on a regular basis with all the entities that have been involved in it, so you get to know how many downloads have been taking place, how folks are using the app, and provide some suggestions for how it could be better in the future. In addition to the videos that are on the app and that were paid for by the TA and the chamber, there are additional business listings and opportunities for business listings that can appear within the Franklin area's section of the app. Right now, we have a handful of them, and at one point, we had made an opportunity for other businesses to get on board. We had a salesperson that was responsible for doing that. That person unfortunately did not do a good job of that, as well as not keeping in contact. So what ended up happening was there was a period of time, almost several months I think, where there was no contact from our team to what was going on, so nobody knew about anything that was happening. No one was able to get in contact with the folks at our company. So right now what we've been doing is going out, making sure that we're restoring the goodwill, letting people know where things are with the app, that things are up and running. Also wanted to let people know that we still do have opportunity and space for local businesses to appear on the app to promote their business. The way that the app works, ideally, is that the entities that promote the usage of the app are promoting the county and promoting the activities in the area. If the app does not get used, then no one knows about Franklin, no one knows about the businesses here, no one knows about the opportunities that exist. So what we've developed for the marketing of the app are some tent cards that I believe Jesse's already mailed out to some of the entities, and if there's other businesses or other individuals that would like tent cards, let us know. We'd be more than happy to supply you with those. There are also videos. The videos that are contained on the app itself are available to embed or post on websites. Again, the more that these things get out, the more that they can be used. We also can provide QR codes, as you mentioned, with the billboards, with any other sponsorship opportunities that you're already engaged in doing. Just a simple line and a little barcode on there in the corner can go miles to letting people that are coming into the theater, that are coming into these festivals, that are coming into these other events, hey, you can find out more information about some of the great destinations and opportunities in Franklin by downloading and interacting with this app. And what we're also prepared to do, there are two types of listings that are available for businesses. We have the basic listings, which include essentially the name, address, and phone number, as well as a single photo for that particular business. And we have the enhanced listings, which include the same features as the basic listing, plus some additional photos and a direct connection to that entity's website. Normally, those business listings are $199 for the basic listing and $299 for the enhanced listings. As a result of the mix-up on our part, what we are prepared to do is offer to members within the Franklin area an opportunity to have a basic listing for what amounts to $1 a month for an entire year. So that would come for an entire year, would be a $12 expense. The enhanced listings would still be the same price. But then in terms of making the sales of these, we do not have the sales force, we do not have the sales team to actually come out and do that. If there are entities in the area that would be willing to do this, and at the chamber meeting, actually, Ron had mentioned that he might know some individuals that would be willing to do that. But it's as well, we'd be willing to offer a 50% commission. And that's just for the for the work that's involved. That does not necessarily have to go to a particular, that full amount does not have to go to a particular entity. So if the TDA wanted to essentially offer other individuals the opportunity to sell those listings, and with the 50% commission and split that with that person, then that's also an opportunity for the chamber to generate some revenue by helping to promote some of the businesses in the area by getting them on this app. And when the businesses are on the app, they're also more likely to promote the app with the 10 card and other sorts of things in their establishment as well. So there are all sorts of things that can be done. But again, just to emphasize that, number one, the app is available both for Android and Apple, iPhone, and iPad. And to whatever extent that the TDA can combine with the chamber and other entities in the area just to promote, raise awareness, let people know that the app is available, utilizing videos. Jesse emailed those links to Mike and Linda. Okay, and if if there's anyone else that wants those links, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to share them for, again, embedding in websites or just sharing and making that information available to the general public. So that's the essential information on the app, and if there are any particular questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
When did it actually change? Because I know the salesperson is no longer with you, I hope. Sorry, I'm a little bitter towards this.
Understandably.
We had a lot of changes in front of
Because it wasn't just a couple months lapse, it's 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And I gave 4 or 5 rooms for the video team to come, didn't get my QR code, didn't get the business, didn't get the tent, didn't get anything. So why would I want to promote it? You said you went with a different company. I don't have the app, does anyone have it?
Is it up?
It is up, and we actually have,
Is it a free app?
Yeah, it's up.
What is it? What's the name of the app?
it's Yugo Tour.
It's the letter U, G-O.
UGO Tour, NC Mountains.
Does it load any faster than it did?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
It was awful. It just went around and around.
We've had, and again, as I mentioned, as a company, our focus is primarily on the production of things like the videos. So we got into it sort of not as a software development company, and we initially got into doing the app, believing that the third-party system that we had integrated initially would be able to provide all the features that we got. When we got it up and saw that it wasn't working, we realized that we had to make a change. And part of that change involved us taking money that we had been paid for the development of the videos and everything for the app, and feeding that into this development company that took it upon themselves to redo the app from scratch and create what is now powering the app that we have. However, with any sort of software development process, particularly when it's from scratch, you're sort of always working here and there to dot some I's and cross some T's. That having been said, we're still working on little things, but the functionality is pretty much 95 to 98% in place. A lot of the things that were problematic before have been resolved. Sounds like someone's got it going already.
But basically, what you're suggesting tonight, and from a prior conversation at the TDC meeting, you're kind of putting it back on us. You're willing to give different organizations or individuals who want to buy into this, you're willing to give them a discounted rate of basically $12 a year. However, it is still up to this community to advertise that and promote that.
And to an extent, but I think for the most part, we're not members of this community. We do not live in Franklin. We do not know Franklin. So I would think if I was a business owner, I'd be more likely that if you're my community member, I'd be more likely to listen to you from a town that I don't live in.
What participation is the Smoky Mountain Host involvement to date this far?
At this point, Smoky Mountain Host has been responsible for helping us to broker the relationships with organizations like the TDA in different counties. Jesse can probably speak a little bit more to, because as I mentioned, I just came aboard with the organization a little bit more than a month ago, so I'm still getting up to speed, but she knows a little bit more about the history and sort of what's going on as far as Smoky Mountain. Is there anything else?
We're still working with Betty. She's still on board, and we're working with her and the DOT to get the St. Byway videos up right now. So she's supposed to be putting it out to all of her customers, Smoky Mountain, and also the DOT is supposed to be too.
How is your other communities, areas? How are they reacting to the transition?
It's not necessarily been a fun tour. It's
understandably.
I
feel sorry for you.
Well, somebody's got to.
We're getting on the right track.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned in the chamber meeting last month, personally, and I know the feeling of those that are still actively involved at the company, we want to make sure that we deliver on what was promised. And it would have been great if everything had worked out the way it was intentionally mapped out to be. Unfortunately, it was a first-time scenario for a lot of people in this situation, and so certain things that should have been done were not done, and that's what's got us to the situation we're in right now. I think that everybody that we've talked to understands that now that we've come and talked to folks face to face versus an email or a phone call or a letter, and explain, we've shown that there actually is a video that I could show, but I think that most people are accessing the app anyhow, so you'd be able to interact with it and see. And it's really just us coming out and saying, hey, we really want to make sure that you're feeling happy about your investment and that you're able to be in a position where you can start seeing a return on it. And we want to make the best situation for everybody. It would be great if we could have a sales team come out and canvass the area and make sure that everybody was involved, but we just do not have those resources right now. Unfortunately, as part of a result of some of the resources we spent to kind of get everything together to where we are now.
Well, you can see why it would be kind of scary
Oh, yeah.
at first
Oh, yeah.
to suggest anyone to.
But I mean, I think
I didn't get an email.
Well,
I didn't get a letter.
Then we only sent emails to the individuals that we saw at the meeting that we were at last month. And that's why Summer invited us to come to this meeting so that we could begin to meet other individuals that we haven't had an opportunity.
What I see as immediately salvageable from our initial investment is are the videos.
Yes.
I mean, they're well done.
They're yours, you
they
paid
highlight-
for them.
You can use how you upload it.
They are yours, you paid for them.
But as far as, my confidence with, this is my opinion, I'm not speaking for the board. As far as the app goes, it's not, in my mind, it's not extremely user-friendly. It doesn't have, other than the informational videos, it's not populated with a lot of businesses. Last time I asked, and this has been a while back, how many downloads there have been, I mean, it wasn't a good number. And I don't know where that's at right now.
Well, there were a lot of technical issues, as there generally are with the development of any software. And so when we switched over, because it's only been a few months that we've been on this new, pretty much since like the summer or late fall of last year, was when the new app came in. And so once we started playing around with that, there were then some revisions and updates that had to go into that. And so it's been a back and forth with the development team as well to make sure that they are handling the requests and getting everything updated as we're passing back in terms of feedback from everybody. So
Yeah, I totally understand that, and that stuff happens, but
Yeah.
we got to look at it from our perspective as like, well,
yeah, and that's why
That's not
we're
our fault.
not coming here asking for you guys to give us any more money.
Right.
And I want to be very clear about that. We're not asking for you to give us any more money. We are now in a position where we are paying for you guys to be, like, you're being hosted on the app beyond what you initially paid for. Now, granted, that was as a result of, screw-ups on our part, but it's still, we're currently now paying for the hosting and everything that's keeping, and we're committed to continuing to do that, as well as providing an opportunity for the businesses in the community to be represented. And yes, they should have been represented and they should have been reached out to prior to now, and that was part of the original plan. I cannot speak to why that plan was not executed. I can only speak to what we have in front of us right now, which are these videos, which is the app, and which is the reality that if people are interacting with and using the app, then it will help to get the word out a lot more. And to whatever extent we can help you with doing that, we're willing to do that.
Could you send, I know you have my email address, and I'd love to have all the information that's
Absolutely.
presented so I can
Absolutely.
then distribute it to the rest of the
Absolutely.
board.
That'd be great. And your updates, how often will they be?
Well, the deal with the updates is that you're generally going to want to have an update every few months as the operating systems themselves update. But that's going to depend on how significant the update is. So with respect to the software updates, then those things will be, every couple of months as Android or iOS updates, and we see that there are significant issues that need to be resolved. With the updates from us, once we have gotten things to a stable version, which I'm hoping will be by the end of next month, and that just means that it's at a point where the updates aren't so frequent. Even software like Microsoft Windows and the Mac operating system is constantly updated. But we'll get things to a far more stable point than it is right now. And then at that point, we'll be able to deliver more regular updates in terms of how the analytics are, traffic-wise, and downloads and interaction happens and so forth.
And will they be monthly after that?
Absolutely.
Quarterly?
No, we can do it monthly. I mean, we just need to know, what will probably be the best is to provide sort of a series of reports to individuals, and we just need to know who's interested in getting that data, and we'll be sure to share it with folks.
Well, I definitely am, that way I can forward it on to our board.
And we do appreciate you coming.
Yeah,
Bless
thank
your
you.
heart.
No, no problem.
I don't
no
know
problem.
how you've dealt with everyone.
Kill
2
the
years is
kindness.
a long time.
And again, we understand and really sincerely apologize for the delays and everything, and that's unprofessional. And it's not anything that we want to reflect and represent the way that we do business. So, our commitment is to make sure that at the very least, we can fall back on saying that we've delivered what was expected.
Are John and Michelle still in the mix? Or are they?
John, yes.
Yeah, okay. Michelle, no. Gotcha. I'm just curious.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Janice,
I think it's something we should consider when we talk about in March, what to do. I mean,
Yeah, just
what can we use, and the outlook of it.
Well, it took a lot of time to come there, I'm sorry.
Well, we've
Thank you.
Thanks.
But yeah, we can send that one more.
Right. We spent, what, $11,000? So I'd like to see us get something out of that.
well, we spent 5,500.
Was TDA fund?
Well,
TDA
TDA
has
and
a-
TDC, but then you have Highlands and
Both of them.
Angela, kind of all combined.
A lot of moving parts.
Contract? Was there a contract?
As performing.
And there,
I don't know, I'm
and
pitching for
there needs to be a
True,
contract.
true Smoky Mountain.
Not the host.
Okay.
They kind of, my perception is they opened the door for this. They just
They
kind
did
of
the
introduced the whole thing
presentation.
and then,
Mhm.
there you go.
Bait and-
Yeah, there you go.
And originally-
Nothing negative about Smoky Mountain Host, it's just, that's just kind of how the process was, and that transition, from what I saw.
And it's a great idea.
Wasn't
But
And
streamlined.
they were supposed to come around and market to the businesses, which I don't know if
which
they did
they're
or
not
not.
doing now.
Or-
We have to do that.
That's a tough spot to be in, to try to come around and ask people to sell their product that they've sold us already.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, they were marketing for the listings, the business listings, and that's why there aren't
I just don't
business
see how it's gonna move
listings.
forward. But
Well, it
that's
has
neither,
been so
that's,
far.
let's
Yeah.
not talk about it anymore.
Yeah, it's.
I was having chest pains earlier and they've really gotten bad now. Sorry. Okay, it's hurting more.
I think we've done it.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Actually, there is one thing, sorry, it concerns marketing, and the East Carolina University Sustainable Tourism Center for Sustainable Tourism is doing a survey, a marketing survey that they offer at a pretty, what looks like a good deal. It's like $2,200, and you get 6 or 8 months worth of reports from people traveling through our area, and this is something we can talk about next month. I just wanted to mention it tonight.
can add it.
And then there's like a $500 reimbursement from the
Okay,
Blue Ridge
stop.
National Heritage Association that they'll actually reimburse our area if we go through, if we do everything that's involved. I can bring that up though next month.
Did they?
Oh, the school's doing a
Presentation?
survey, and then they're looking for people to get the survey data.
For them, yeah, for our area, and our area qualifies under the Blue Ridge National Heritage. Just are trying to get our areas to buy into the survey, and it helps them in the long run too. Yeah,
And they get back 500.
yeah.
We can add that to the.
Okay.
Policy.
I've just been in
Or-
correspondence already with them, so I told them I would mention that tonight.
Appreciate that. That's good.
And I have some stuff from WLOS too, that, but I didn't want to bring that up.
down,
Our next TDA regular scheduled meeting would be March 11th, 5:30, still here. And then the retreat for the marketing plan for the 2013-14 budget is for March 20th at 5:30 here. Any questions? Does that work for everybody? So please, everyone try to attend because we need input from everybody. I mean, we have a new board. It's very important that we.
Board positions? Where are we at with that? Are we anywhere? Do we have?
We've
Got 3 open.
We've got 3 open, and if you know of anyone, maybe.
Has anyone contacted you guys at town hall or
We've had.
directly or?
Yeah, it's been on the website for.
It's on the website, and I saved all the articles. I printed it for a month in both papers, Macon County News and the Franklin Press, and not heard.
Okay, just curious.
But definitely word of mouth helps, so. But we're looking for 3. 2 would be, one is has to be directly involved with the collection of room occupancy tax. The other 2 have to be directly involved with the promotion.
Which is sad that most of the hotels have not even been
If I had
involved.
one, I think
Yeah,
I'd
you'd
like to know where my
paying
tax.
the tax.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
That's
under
under
occupancy, somebody must be, I know what they're doing.
They don't care.
Is there any other questions or announcements? And if I could have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed?